5, 6, and... Not quite my tempo.
Dreams do come true, and our next film proves it. Damien Chazelle had a script, so he decided to make an 18-minute short about it in hopes for turning it into a feature film. And in the process, he took it to Park City for Sundance Film Festival. Exactly 1 year later, he was back with another movie about the same characters, but this time it was a 105-minute feature film. The film is called Whiplash. Andrew Newman is an inspiring jazz drummer who dreams of being the best in the world. Terrence Fletcher, an unorthodox teacher, discovers Andrew, and he recruits him to his jazz ensemble, which then changes the young drummer's life. The tagline, "The road to greatness can take you to the edge." That is exactly what this film will do.
Welcome to Adult Beverage Podcast, where we will be talking films, new and old.
He's looking at you, kid.
Think could fly thing. Did we just become best friends? Yep.
As well as anything else in the entertainment world, while enjoying an adult beverage in hand.
So today's hosts are Laura Truman.
Hello.
And Patrick Keenan. Good day. And a guest today that we're bringing on is a special one. You can't do this movie Whiplash without bringing the squeaker on. So,
hello. I am Squeaker.
Awesome. Okay.
Know your place.
Yes. Yes. Don't talk over us. That's
Don't
the
even
key.
look at us.
Yes.
Don't
Matter of fact, turn and look
down.
the other direction.
Yeah.
Everybody loves this movie, right? I mean, Whiplash. I mean,
It's good.
more-
It's good. It's very good.
It is good.
Yes.
It is
Good movie.
in the top 10 favorite movies of all time for me.
How many times
Wow.
a
I've seen
month
it probably about, a month?
do you watch
It's about
it?
twice a month, but
Is
I've
it?
probably seen it about 40 times now.
40 times.
Yes.
Tell us, Patrick. What's the thing about this that sets off to you? That's
One thing is I find something new about it each time I watch it. Still, there's stuff I go, oh, wow, I had no idea about that. But I think the ending of it, it left me, the first time I saw it was in a theater and I was on the edge of my seat. Literally, it sounds like I'm saying that, but I really was on the edge of my seat. How do you make music that amazing and visually stimulating?
When we decided we were going to watch it, you said that you were on the edge of your seat, and I found myself at home on the edge of my seat.
It's such
Just
drama.
leaning a little
And
bit, like
their
falling off.
relationship, which I think is open to different interpretations, but I love it more each time I see it, that really bizarre, intricate relationship between them. We'll see what you guys think about their
and it
relationship.
parallels that story they tell over and over, the Charlie Parker story.
Right, which actually is not factually correct.
Yeah, it's close. It's kind of
It's close. It's close, but
What did he throw?
he threw a symbol
ham.
on the floor, didn't he? I don't think he threw it.
Yeah,
in his head.
it
just
kinda dropped
he
at his
slammed it on the
feet, maybe.
And it wasn't something like where the next day Charlie Parker went back to practice. He waited like 3 weeks before he hit drums again and stuff. But that doesn't make for an exciting movie story, does it?
Now, could that also be that he knew that Fletcher knew that and he built up that story to make it mean more?
Possibly to meet his objective, which is to, if you take him at his word, is to find the next musical, god.
Why is he not the next musical god?
Some people like to be the man behind the man.
Yeah, you don't get much of his background, really.
No.
No, you don't.
No,
They
you really
even
don't.
That's I want.
They
more
they
of
actually
that.
they cut a lot of those scenes out that they had planned to have in there, but
Well, they filmed his apartment
Right.
scene, and that's the only one I know they definitely cut. And that I can't remember who recommended it. It was another director went, get rid of that. Because besides that scene, Neiman is in every scene in the movie. So
I think it was a smart move
It's a
to
good
cut
call.
because it honestly didn't build anything to the character. It didn't add anything, and I actually like the fact that there's this mystery behind him, that he brings a sort of a persona with him, like that he's something more than just an instructor, and we see that later in the movie as it comes around, where he's performing. He has this incredible intensity that sort of either gets under your skin or you love him. I mean, it's that Bobby Knight basketball syndrome of, this guy's your coach and you're behind him, or you hate him.
Right.
What did everybody...
It's both.
And actually, yeah, I think it is. You can hate him and still go like, oh yeah, he's Arlie Ermy in what is it, Full Metal Jacket. He's like a drill sergeant for musicians because those kids are scared of him.
Right.
Yeah, mine
After
tends
they
to come
make
in
the
waves.
cut.
Like I hate him for parts of the
Wouldn't you
movie,
be?
and then kind
I
of start
was.
feeling for him and knowing why he's doing it. But I think I probably hate him more than like him throughout.
And that's why I think the end of the movie is so big is that all of a sudden you're like, I kind of understand now where he was coming from. What his objective obviously is to make the next musical prodigy, and Neiman's he even says he wants to be the next.
Yeah, and he's
know.
willing to sacrifice everything. Everything.
But was he before he met Fletcher?
That's a that drive inside. Okay, it's there, and an instructor has brought it out. It's like being an athlete, and you want to be the best, but until someone really points it out that the difference between Michael Jordan and the guy that's the 12th man on the end of the bench is this much, and if you want to be that, you've got to express it and you go for him. I grew up with my dad was that kind of coach, pushing us always, and he was Fletcher. That's my dad, and when it came to sports, 110%. Does that affect the character that we see on the screen?
Absolutely.
Well, glad you could fit us into your busy schedule, darling.
I know. Look, I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm here. I'm ready to go.
Connolly's playing the part.
Yeah, like fucking hell, he's playing my part.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
It's my part.
It's my part, and I decide who to lend it to. Usually it's somebody that has fucking sticks.
I left him in the car. I'll be right back. Take me 5 minutes.
I'm warming up the band now.
Look, I can use Ryan's sticks. It's not
Neiman,
that
you
big.
lost the fucking part.
No, I didn't. Look, you can't fucking do this to me.
Can't?
Yeah.
When did you become a fucking expert on what I can or cannot do, you fucking weepy willow shit sack?
I earned that part.
You never earned anything. God, you are a self-righteous prick. The only reason you're a fucking core is because you misplaced a folder. The only reason you're in studio band to begin with is because I told you exactly what I'd be asking for in Nassau. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I'm in studio band because I'm the
Hey,
best
why don't
player.
you just back
Hey,
off,
yo,
bro?
fuck off, Johnny Utah. Turn my pages, bitch.
Hey, I can cut you any fucking time I want.
You would have cut me by now.
Try me, you fucking weasel.
First of all, let's talk about we have a Whiplash cocktail,
Yes.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
fucking disgusting.
Yeah. It's not,
How do you
it's not
like it?
good.
All of you guys have tried it. I was like waiting for your
I hated
verdicts.
it so much I finished it because I want it gone from me.
Audio
Another one. Do you
engineer
want another one?
actually made this for us, so
Yeah.
we've got to thank Jonathan Bedford for that. And
Thanks a
on
lot.
the audio
Thanks
there.
for nothing, Jonathan.
Yes.
But besides the cocktail drink, what are we eating? What are we eating
Oh,
here?
we're eating popcorn with raisinets in it.
Like in the movie.
Yeah.
Now, why is it what does Andrew like raisinets?
No,
What does he do?
he eats around
He
them.
eats around them. What else do you know about Andrew's character pre-Fletcher? Does he have a girlfriend pre-Fletcher?
No.
He does not have a girlfriend.
He's
Does he
so
look people?
sad.
Does he look people in the eyes when he talks?
No,
he doesn't look people in the eyes. So Fletcher has this. Despite the fact that Fletcher's a douche, Magnus, he affects Neiman to the point where he starts standing up for himself because he comes from he's got a single dad. His mom left. His dad even says in the movie, I would do anything for you. So he's probably coddled.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which there's something to be
Even-
said for the good things that this kind of
right,
behavior brings out. But
looking at it on the
where's
surface,
the line? That's that line.
what you have to.
But I
is
thought that it was
bullying
an interesting
or-
parallel that his dad was totally supportive but didn't really understand the music, whereas Fletcher was really hard but like knew music was his thing.
Mm-hmm.
They were almost polar opposites.
Well, even like his dad in the when he's in the theater and the guy comes and hits him with a bag of popcorn. He's very passive. He's very like, I'm not
He
going to
says-
rock the boat on
says,
anything,
"I'm
which I think
sorry."
that's right. When the
Yeah.
guy hits him in the head, which I think is real interesting that he's the one that later on steps up and kind of forces the play of the verdict, if you will, that's put on Fletcher there. So,
And it builds as you go along, seeing Neiman change. He asks the girl out. I can't remember her name.
Nicole.
Is that the character's name? Oh, that's the character's name. She's Supergirl now.
Yeah.
Whoever the
Kara-
actress, Benoist, or something
No,
like
Kara's
that.
Supergirl. Melissa Benoist.
yes.
Well, I'm going to take
You
your
were so close.
nice job, Squeaker. I can take your pronunciation because I
Kara's her
can't
name
say
on
it.
Supergirl.
We got a squeaker here.
We got a squeaker.
I'm going to sit the next couple minutes.
Thanks.
Good.
The usual?
Nah. Look, I don't really know how. I see you in here a lot, and I think that you're really pretty. And would you want to go out with me? Ever?
Please go away.
Oh my
Please
God.
get out.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm just messing with you. I'm messing
What?
with you.
Oh my God.
So he asks out a girl when they have the family dinner with Uncle Frank, Chris Mulkey, who had disappeared for years, and it's good to see him again showing up and stuff like this in The Purge. I don't know if they're related anyhow, but he stands up for himself and he's like, "Your fucking kids play douche football, and you're like
Yeah, I love that
celebrating them.
scene.
Yeah,
It's
that
really
was a
good."
great
And he's
scene.
like, "You don't understand. I'm in studio. I'm in Terrence Fletcher's, studio. I'm in Schaefer Conservatory of Music, which doesn't exist. I'm in their studio band, and it's very prestigious."
Yeah, nobody
And so he
gives a
starts
shit.
standing up for himself, and then even Neiman a little bit later starts becoming a little bit of a douche with, you flip my
yeah.
pages, Johnny Utah, you bitch,
Right.
type of
Yeah.
stuff. So it's definitely, they affect each other.
Well, I
Yeah.
kind of thought about that. Like, do you think he was the first person to ever go at Fletcher like that? Because every other musician and student you see in that movie just kind of takes it and is scared of him. Do you think anyone else, like
I
maybe
was
the other
surprised
kid
that
they
no
brought
one
up,
had attacked him before.
Yeah, the
Sean?
Sean Casey.
Yeah. Like, do you think
he
would-
might have had that relationship, but you have to wonder because Sean Casey, you find out, kills himself despite what Fletcher says. And,
Right.
Oh, he died in a car accident. And he did that whole performance of being all weepy and stuff like that. And the kid killed himself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the day before. It was like, weeks earlier. So it's just kind of like strange. That I can't justify everything Fletcher does, except he even comes out and says what his motive is. I fucking tried. I was trying to find the next Charlie Parker. I fucking tried. And you go, okay, so he kind of laid out his entire objective right there. And we already know Neiman's objective is to become the next big thing in music. So whatever their relationship is, if it's parasitic, if it's balance or something, it's the end of that movie celebrates it. It's so exciting. And it amazes me that people don't understand the ending because he finishes his solo and Neiman's got that big smile on his face and they don't show Fletcher's full face. They show his eyes. But anyone who's seen a human being smile knows that he smiles and he is fulfilled at that moment. And then it does the fanfare of the song to wrap it up. And I get chills.
Well, and I think that's the thing about this movie, that there's so many things that are tied back to the audio part of this movie. You can watch this movie. I watched it one time, and it's something I like to do is I like to watch it first, just take in everything that's going on, and then I like to come back to it again and watch it for more technical aspects of
Right.
the filmmaking production aspects of it. Then I like to listen to it and not even watch it, have it in the background playing. Or have it on your iPod and you're watching it, whatever it might be, you're listening to it. And then
You have an iPod?
Yeah, I still do. Actually, believe it or not.
I have a
Sorry, didn't mean to
Zune.
interrupt.
Yeah.
I still have a Zune.
You're the one person that still has it?
Yeah, I have it, and I still use it in my car.
I'm a big fan of rewatching. I watch movies that I love over and over again, but I also do this with movies I fucking hate. I will go, well, maybe it was the mood I was in, so I'll go back and watch it.
What's a
again.
movie you fucking hate?
Cloverfield.
Okay.
I've seen it
That's fair.
6 times. I fucking hate it every time I
think
see it.
you don't have to see it again.
The great part, I
want to understand. I want to know why people like this.
I was in New York City when they were filming that, so and actually walked across the set. So that was one of those things where you go, "Oops, sorry. What are y'all filming?" Cloverfield.
Oh, real.
And I was like, "What is this?" They're like, "It's."
I just
you
have
won't
friends who
understand."
love that movie, and we go back and forth because I'm like, oh, it's a great monster movie. movie. I would have liked to have seen The Monster.
Right.
But I will go back and watch the movies I hate. But movies I really like, I will watch. Something like this or Inception, both of those are big on my list of rewatch and catch more and more each time. And it just makes it more of a complete. You always think you watch a movie and that's it. You just go, I liked it. I didn't like it.
No, you have to watch it like
but-
50 times to be sure.
And Ken can talk about the editing in this. And
the editing is
the
phenomenal.
technical-
I mean, well, first of all, it won an Oscar for the editing, and that part. If you watch the cuts in the way it's done, I tell you, even the start of this film, I loved.
Yeah, I do too.
Completely loved the way you start a film in this solid black, you know, and then the music's playing and you're being brought in, you know, audibly into the story right from the very beginning. And then they cut and you're in this little hallway that's looking down at him, playing the drums in the distance and the camera's, you know, dollying down the track. And that part really brings you into, you know, his character. I mean, you instantly want to know who this kid is, what he's about. And then that first scene is fabulous when Fletcher walks in and they have this great dialogue popping back and forth.
Here we go. 5, 6, and. Downbeat on 18. Okay, here we go. 5, 6, and. Bar 17, the and of 4. Got it? 5, 6, 7. Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go. 5, 6, 7. You're rushing. Here we go. Ready? Okay. 5, 6, and. Dragging just a hair. Wait for my cue. 5, 6, 7. Rushing. 5, 6, and.
I mean, what did you think when he left the room?
Dick.
Yeah.
Because he was such a dick. He's like, did I say stop playing? And so he starts
Yeah.
playing. He's like, did I say stop playing?
It's all a master game of manipulation.
And it's so well done. The acting is so well done that I was reading, there was like a goof there with Fletcher's jacket is like on the hook, off the hook. Like it was in and out, like, all right, props or wardrobe or whoever, probably props. Screwed that up. But I didn't notice that.
Nobody noticed.
You're introduced into Neiman's world, which is really just drums. Drums and going to the movies with Dad.
Yeah, he's pretty one-dimensional.
Kind of like we are. You know, we're all podcasters, one-dimensional. So that's it.
I'm less than one dimension. I owe dimensions. And
well, and if you're listening to this, you're probably in the third dimension right about now.
Probably.
You know,
No, that's the fourth dimension. Is that the
4D.
I don't know. I don't know what the Twilight Zone is. And what's exciting about the movie also is talking about their relationship and however it is when it's ripped apart, when Neiman's out of the school or out of the conservatory and Fletcher also is. What is Neiman doing isn't he working like in a deli? Like before he goes to the jazz club and sees Fletcher's name on the erase board there.
He does have just like a normal job.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything about that until after.
Oh, no, yeah. No,
All
he
of a
didn't
sudden
have
it's
that
like,
job.
oh, well, now
Had
that
to
he doesn't
fill
have
my time
music,
with something.
he's working in the deli.
right.
Well, nobody likes that, so hopefully he walks by that jazz club that
He
Fletcher's
loves
playing at.
sandwiches.
Well, who doesn't?
Well, I
Come
do.
on. Come on. He's a good
Sandwiches.
Jewish boy.
Exactly. So, you know, a lot of people don't realize that this movie was first a short. It went to Sundance and it actually won. I'm not sure which award. Someone want to tell me on
The
that
jury
one?
award.
Right.
But actually, it was. Well, this is the weird thing. Before it was a feature script first,
right.
and they couldn't. Damien Chazelle could not get the money to make the feature,
Which happens all the time. I
Right.
mean, you know,
So-
and so you come back and say, let's show you a
Let's do
little
a short.
sizzle reel
Yeah, exactly.
that turns into a short.
which was how long? What do you think? It was like 17.
It was 18 minutes to
18
be
minutes.
exact. Uh-huh.
With you've got J.K. Simmons obviously playing that role because that's how you're going to sell the thing in the first place, and you've got Jimmy Simmons, who's not related to J.K. Simmons, is playing the Neiman role, and the only other repeat person is Oh well, Carl,
there's a
the
whole bunch
drummer,
of them.
and the fat kid.
And
who,
that's right.
That kid,
Who
Elmer.
isn't
Yes.
playing
Elmer.
Yeah.
Elmer Fudd.
What are you looking down at? Is there a Mars bar down there? It's amazing how the dialogue, they used a lot of the dialogue. One of the dialogue changes between the short and the feature that freaked me out is we were making fun of it with a, I'm upset.
I'm upset.
In the short, it's, I am upset. And he has to say it, I am upset. I am upset. And it's the same thing. But it sounds so much better. I'm upset.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting how J.K. Simmons took his acting ability to the next level in the full feature. I thought he was good in the short, but his character was not like this overpowering, almost like tyrant. That
he's
he
a
became.
dick. He's a dick for sure.
Without a doubt. He steps up that level and he becomes so much more intense. Now I realize, one of the things about this is when they were filming it, they had 3 days they shot the short in and they thought they were getting a lot of time to make the feature after they got the money, and they had 20 days to make that. So, 3 days to shoot one scene in a band room it's not a problem. You could make a movie,
Right.
A short movie in that.
I think it was actually 19 days, a 19-day shoot.
19.
Right.
Which is insane. Any of us who know anything about the business, that's pretty friggin' insane, especially when you make something as awesome as this.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it is contained in its locations, I guess.
Exactly.
You had that car crash,
Yeah.
which could give someone whiplash.
Right. Yes.
And Miles Teller went to Schaefer Conservatory is an imaginary school, but it's based on Juilliard, as far as we can tell, which is where Miles Teller went to school and had an accident.
Oh,
damn!
tell us more.
That's all I got on that. I don't know.
That's enough.
Yes.
That accident was pretty crazy in the movie too. That was well done.
It was, yeah.
It was well done, and it was perfect timing, and the whole intensity of it just adds to that much more excitement. I'm not so sure I would, if I was J.K. Simmons, I would have said, "Hey, man, here's a guy that's bleeding all over the place. I'm gonna let him get on the drums."
Yeah.
Little
But he kinda
unrealistic
just-
in that
he
side
kinda
of
just
it.
took his place. Doesn't he just kick Connolly off?
Yeah.
And just Connolly's just like, because what you can do is start fighting on stage. So he just
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
lets him have it.
What are you
And
gonna
then,
do, bleed on me?
and then you've got Fletcher kind of looks at him and is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And what else happened? What other exciting little tidbits do we have from that? Oh, J.K. Simmons broke a few ribs.
Oh yeah, being
really?
tackled on stage.
When he got tackled
Yeah.
on stage and just went on with
because
the scene to
he's
get.
a trooper.
Because they had 19 days.
I mean, as fit as he is, he must have been tackled pretty hard.
I don't
'cause-
ever remember him being that fit before. When he was
Well,
like J.
even-
Jonah Jameson,
even-
I
He's
don't
like
remember.
in muscle mags and fitness mags and stuff. He's
Wow.
got because I looked it up today. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Do you have old copies?
She was
of
looking
that?
for the
I
nude
can
pictures
get
of
them.
him.
I
She has
will get
pinups
them.
on her wall of J.K. Simmons, like
Shut up,
flexing
you guys. Oh my
in
God.
his G-string, whatever they call them, flexing outfits.
Did you even notice between the first his first one and his second one what a difference he looked, between the short, he had
Yeah.
pumped up so much more for that, and I think that added that little
yeah.
extra intensity to it because
His
you were like,
veins
I don't
are
even want to
all
mess with
popping
this
out.
guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's hulking out of that shirt. Yeah. He's totally hulking out.
He is. He's very intimidating.
And look, that big vein.
Hey,
on
but
his
just
head.
looking at his face is intimidating. So
Yeah, it is.
I think I'd be.
But it
pretty
also
intimidated.
has so many nice folds and softness to it, because he was Juno's dad.
He was Juno's
He was
dad.
Juno's dad, and
He's
he was
done
so sweet.
What
as
was
Juno's
great
dad.
about him winning the Oscar for this was that he's done so many indie films. Juno is actually a big indie film. I've seen him do indie films that I might be one of 100 people who've seen. Something About the Music, I think, is one that he did with Lou Taylor Pucci. Lou Taylor Pucci's got a brain damage, and the only thing that brings him back to some sort of conscious state is music. And J.K. Simmons plays the dad. It's fucking awesome. You should check
That's
it. If you can
cool.
find it anywhere, probably VisArt.
I can
check it out.
probably find that. Yes.
Plug for
Shout
VisArt.
out VisArt. Yeah.
Neiman, you weren't the part.
Alternates, you want to clean the blood off my drum set?
Let's talk about some of the other movies that he's done. La La Land. Is anybody a fan of that movie or?
I did not see it.
I did not either.
I saw it. It's
am
a
fan of
good
Ryan
movie.
Gosling.
It's just not my movie. It didn't touch me. I thought the ending was depressing. It didn't touch me. I didn't touch myself during the
It
movie.
didn't touch me inappropriately. Or
so-
And that's the number one rule.
Hashtag me too. It was just, but I'm also, which is weird because I'm not a musical person, but I would also have said before Whiplash, I don't give a shit about big bands and jazz. And by the end of this, I'm like, I'm like,
Big bands of jazz.
this is awesome. Well, I didn't go out and buy a bunch. I didn't go to Starbucks and buy that garbage. Oh, I guess it's free anyway, isn't it? But this movie made music exciting, or at least a type of music that I'm not interested in. La La Land was a little rough for me because I do pick on the musical genre. And there's that scene in La La Land towards the beginning where it's like, it's a tense, bumper to bumper traffic. And these jackasses get out of their car and start doing a dance number and singing to it. And I'm like, no, there's got to be a gun involved. Police are going to be called.
Back in your
the
car.
police wouldn't even be able to get there. So it'd be a police copter flying in, trying to bust some people.
So Singing in the Rain
not
is
in
not
LA.
one of your favorite movies.
No, I'm
Because
sorry.
of that.
I apologize.
It probably couldn't have happened.
My
with The
apologies to all
Rain.
the listeners. I'm not a big musical person. I did like Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I like that one.
I like weird.
It's groovy.
I look more of the rock opera.
Yeah, you like
type
Tommy?
of thing. Tommy's okay.
Tommy's good.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror is
I can.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Horror's good. Yeah.
that's a really good one.
But you try to get me to watch that. What is it? Sound of Music, where she makes the kids.
That's what we're watching for next time.
Is it
I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm
we
sorry.
decided
Doesn't she
that's
make
gonna
those
be-
I watch that
children
every
sing
day,
to
so-
Nazis?
Yep.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah. It's
Julie
gonna be
Andrews.
Yes,
gonna be a rough one. Yeah.
we are just kidding
No,
about that.
no,
Yes,
that's
we're
not
not-
true at
we're
all.
not-
That
Yeah,
is a
because
lie.
now we know that there's
That's a
only going to
lie.
be like 2 people listening. My grand.
I'm sorry. Come back.
My mother
sorry.
and my aunt
Julie Andrews.
and Julie Andrews. Well,
It's
that's
a whole
3
new
actually.
crop of listeners.
Okay, maybe we will do this.
Now I know. What did you want to talk about next? I know Squeaker wants to talk about the ending.
Let's talk about
Well,
it.
that
I mean,
can
it's
I
like
just say
saying
something
squeaker.
first?
nope, that's not going to happen. So, but
Sorry.
Back to the end.
Yeah.
I'll point my tempo.
No, I was curious if there's a reason why there are no women in his band.
Women are weak and can't play music.
It seemed that
Shut up.
there were women at the school.
There were.
'Cause we
At
did
least
see
Learned
one.
that in
Yeah.
the
At
JV
least
band. There was.
one.
And what did
woman.
they do? They made fun of her. He goes, "Are you here because you're good, or you just look, you just
Here
look
'cause
good?"
you're
She goes,
cute.
Right.
"All right."
But it was one scene in particular when I think it was right before they were going on the competition. He sees a friend with his little girl in the hallway,
Yes.
Yeah.
and he's being really
Fletcher.
nice. Like this is yeah,
Yeah,
Fletcher
and you're
does.
gonna
And
come
this is
join my band.
and he said you're going to come join my band when you grow up, and that's what made
And
me
be
think
the first girl.
have there been
Well,
any
now
others?
that's not true. I think there is a girl featured in the band. I think she's in the second row.
Good God, I'm going to
Go
watch it
towards
again.
the right hand side if they're all together. I think
What is she playing?
maybe a trumpet.
Really?
Maybe a trumpet, but she's got dark hair. The girl you're talking about, I remember, had blonde hair, and she was cute.
Yes, but she did
this girl,
really not play very well.
Hang on, let's see if we can find her.
Yeah, she's in there somewhere, probably, right? Well, that's where you got to go review the movie.
Sorry, guys.
I was saying, like,
do you
my
think-
bad. I thought we were coming
Yeah.
up to
Is
it.
it his reputation that has just that made women
I
just
certainly
not want
wouldn't
to
wanna
be in
take
the band?
that
Yeah, like
class,
is it just
but-
too much?
I just
You know.
accepted that that's still the JV scene
The JV scene.
because
yeah.
that
that's
actor,
early,
the actor who's the normal conductor for the JV thing, I love him. He was on the Newsroom. He shows up every once in a while in different projects. Fantastic New York actor. I just assumed that it was not a very female-centric
Yeah.
film because even the girlfriend has 10 minutes of time through the whole movie, and she's in 3 scenes. And
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
play a big role.
so I don't know.
But
what
I like that
means,
scene. I
but-
think it's a great way of setting up, from a screenwriter's perspective. It's a great way of setting the story of who he is. His pickup. I love the scene where he's actually her out on a date,
Mhm.
and at
So
the theater,
awkward.
and it's like she sort of rejects him, and then says, "I'm just kidding," kind of like come
Yeah,
on.
that was a good scene. That
That's
was
a
a perfect
really
scene.
good
Yeah.
scene. And then there's sort of there's scenes as it move on, the advancement of that, and then you realize that shows what he is as a character.
Yes.
That he's really only thinking about himself. He's not, and that gives you, which is, usually if you don't care about somebody, you don't want to watch this movie. But in this case, here's a character that's your lead actor, and you sort of don't sympathize with him, but you feel for him a little bit because he's getting abused. And I think that this movie came out at a time when, abuse and all this bullying was such a big thing. And I think that helped it in the awards aspect. But if it wasn't for that, would you care for who he is? And I think that when some people don't like this movie, I could see that would be the reason. You
can't get behind the main character.
Right.
He's not necessarily likable.
Yeah, no, he's not
Right.
likable.
Right.
No.
Even when they're with that date that they go on to the pizza place.
It's not fun.
No.
It's boring.
No, and he's listening to the music that's playing, going like,
and she does not give two shits about that.
Right, and he's kind of like, so what do you go to school for? Where'd she go to Fordham? And
she hadn't decided
a real school,
yet.
and she hadn't decided, and he almost seems judgmental about
Yeah.
that.
Totally,
and,
totally judgmental.
Kind of like, listen,
I felt that.
Yeah,
It cut me a little bit in my heart. Yeah.
But it was interesting before the ending when he called her to see if she wanted to come to the performance.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was like, I almost even forgot about her as a character.
Yes.
But I think that kind of is what it was supposed to do. Like, he almost did too. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't really mean all that much to him.
No, she represented something he was supposed to want, but did he
that
really
was him
want
stepping
it?
out of his box and getting something that he didn't have before. But then I still, at the same time,
kind of like Raisinets, getting out of the
Just
box
working around
and into the popcorn.
just pick around them. But then you would think that if he completely didn't care about her, he wouldn't even meet her in that and have that restaurant scene, which was so horribly awesome, where he's like, I can't, this is what would happen with our relationship, and I've got to focus on drumming. Drumming's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, and even though part of me went, wow, he's just a little jackass. At the same time, I went, but he had the conversation to her face.
Yeah.
And crushed her in person, unless that was him bullying. Who knows?
And then even in that last phone call when she said something about her boyfriend,
Yes.
the look on his face, it just kind of went blank.
Yeah.
He was crushed all of a sudden. Like, I can't believe she found somebody else.
Yeah, she wasn't just pining away for me,
Right.
waiting for me.
So there's stuff to not like about Neiman. He's not your
He's not
typical
perfect. He's
typical
human.
hero. I know people who won't see this movie just because of the bullying aspect, which is a shame because I try to tell them there's so much going on in this movie. Don't base it on a bald man who looks like a turtle yelling at at a 19-year-old
He's a cute
kid.
turtle.
Because it's not. It's about so much more. Is bullying a factor in it? Sure, but there's so
It's
much
like a
more
character.
going on.
It's
Yeah.
it's its own character. It's not.
And he's very upfront. Like he really does. Very few times do characters come out and say, "This is what I want," and he does.
Mm-hmm.
And Neiman does
Yeah.
earlier in the movie too. Not that they're super complex things that they want, but they're very upfront with what their objectives are in the movie.
I was so during the scene when he was talking about, am I too fast or am I too slow? Talking about the tempo. Do you think he was being serious or was he just picking on him? Like, did he really know he was too fast that one
I think
time?
it was a
too
little
slow?
bit of both.
Or was he just trying to prove a point and make him kind of get in his own head?
I thought he was being a douche and showing him his place on the first day of stuff. But also, if you listen to him play, or I've watched it too many times, if you listen to him playing, he's rushing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
He's rushing.
I don't
definitely
even know
is.
music,
Yes,
and he
he's
is rushing
rushing.
a little bit.
Because he's nervous. I mean, he's
Well, I
super
think
nervous.
he's a freshman. He's he has not gone through the whole full out process of gaining all the knowledge, and half the knowledge is understanding that you're confident. And I think that's what this movie talks about, is being confident in who you are and what you're doing. And all great artists are confident in it, and they know what they want, and they're going to go after it, and they're not going to let somebody get in their way. And I think that's interesting because when you get to the end of the movie, that's what we see happen. He steps up in this little, almost like you get goosebumps, because he's like, you know what, you're trying to set me out and show me up. I'm gonna turn it around on you.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw something out there, and now, if I go out bad, and this is what I always tell young artists that are trying to come up and be something. Don't be afraid to step up and do something and say, you know what, I'm gonna get out there and step out on that ledge, and I'm gonna bang the drums out of it, which is literally what happens here. and be successful in what you're wanting, because it's all about your goals and what you want to do. Too many times we are not confident enough in what we want, and we skip those things. And I think that's what happens in this film. As you see this character, he's developing, he's getting more confident, he's becoming, see, even that, we're getting phone calls about it. So you can always, chime into us later if you would like, but
It's actually a weather alert.
It's a weather alert. Okay, great. So
It's drizzling.
great.
So you know.
But that factor, is there. And the story kind of develops into it.
Plus,
and the
I
character.
think at that point in the movie, he's got to know nobody gives somebody this much shit if they don't think he has some of the talent.
Right.
We saw how Elmer Fudd, I can't remember the character's name besides that, how Elmer Fudd is, he wasn't even flat.
No.
And he was kicked out, but he didn't know the difference. That's
and
just
what
as
about
bad.
the guy who was?
Yeah.
Nothing happened to that
Because that
guy.
wasn't the point that Fletcher was making.
But what about that guy?
Well, that's
He's
the great
random.
thing. This is a movie, and it's
I
not
want,
real,
I want
guys.
that guy
This didn't
out
really
the
happen.
band. That guy's out.
All right, done.
Talking about the ending, what do you think Fletcher meant to do by setting him up not knowing that song? Do you think he meant to?
Oh, no, I think he meant to fuck him.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like he
Yeah.
meant, I don't think he
I think so,
expected
too.
Neiman to come, to go off with his dad and hand him his jacket and then come back storming out.
I
So
also
there
think
is-
he was kind of ready for the possibility that he would overcome it. I think he was fine either way. I think he wanted to mess with him, but he also
I think he was a little
testing him
surprised. I
too.
felt like
Well,
he
there's
was
a lot of
little
psychology in
surprised.
this movie, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of play of how the psychology, develops in between these characters, as well as why they're pushing themselves, and he's trying to get the most out of him. He wants him to be the best. You can tell, and like you said, he doesn't. No one's going to get that much grief and that much, pressure on someone if they don't care about him.
Right.
And especially his psychology. He's a type A. Fletcher is. Personality. He wants to be the best. He's wanting his people to be the best. He doesn't want to lose. He wants to always win, and win at all stakes. So with that, he's going to try to push everybody to be the best. Now, does that have some downfalls?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Like cymbals flying through the air.
Yeah. Or chairs, folding chairs.
I mean, you brought it up earlier, the Bobby Knight. This almost is a sports movie just with music.
It really is.
Like everybody's
Totally.
had a coach that was hard on them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 I ran
Maybe
a lot
not
of laps.
that hard.
Yeah.
Like that's maybe
Yeah,
a little
well,
bit harder.
I ran a lot of laps in
back, maybe.
Greenfield Field because, I made one little mistake, and, my dad was that, perfectionist, and that's the same thing. I related to this film from that standpoint. It was like watching myself, be there. And I think, from that standpoint, you get this anxiety that's inside of you. And, I watched this for the first time with my wife, and she was standing up, tapping her feet. She had to stand up toward the ending. And that's the intensity of this. It's almost like the drum is beating, and so is your heart and as you're watching it. And I think it's a movie that's a lot of people haven't seen, but it's definitely something people should go back to and watch.
People, I want people to see this movie because I think it's an important movie to see. And once again, and I always love the indies, and even though it's, what'd you say, 3 point something million, it's still, that's indie nowadays, sadly.
Right.
Indie used to be under $1 million.
It was made for $3.3 million.
Right.
And the opening weekend, I think they only had $135,000. But it's grossed to this point $48,982,000.
Now, for those of you who are new at this, which looks like it might be everybody except Cal, tonight could change your life. The folks out there make a phone call. You could be a Blue Note signee, an EMC client, a Lincoln Center core. On the other hand, if you drop the ball, you might be looking for a new line of work, because the other thing about these cats is they never forget.
So we're talking about the ending, and Squeaker is wondering if, well, say it again. Say what you just said.
So when he gave him that wrong song, or didn't give him the song, was he setting him up to fail, or was he setting him up to kind of like overcome?
Yeah, is he going to rise to
become
this
that guy that he
challenge?
wanted
I
him
think
to
he
be?
was fucking him over.
I thought
Yeah.
he was literally, here you are. You dig out of this one, buddy.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
comes
because
over and he says
Oh
to
my
him.
God, I knew it was you.
Yeah, I knew it was
Oh my God.
Yeah.
as well as he also said that this will make you or break you. Some of you guys are going to get picked up to go work on some of these other great places, and they also never forget anything. So he set him up to crash.
But he was
would
okay
you? And,
with him succeeding. Like,
Yes. Oh, but I think the way I take it and why it's even more special is I think even Fletcher's surprised that Neiman mans up, pulls his testicles up, and comes back out on stage and just starts playing.
So. Pleasantly surprised.
And first, at first he's kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then when the kid's playing good, and I think it's slowly we get to see him.
Well, and
like,
Neiman
wow.
takes control.
He picks up the cymbals that have fallen over and screws them back up, and he's just nodding.
You can see where Neiman takes control, and he says, I'll cue you in.
Yep.
But before that, it was funny when he got a little too close and he hit the cymbal into Fletcher's face.
Yes.
I love that scene.
Yeah, a nice little.
But he does. Neiman finally becomes the musician that he can become. And I just wanted to mention the Paul Reiser thing, that you knew exactly what I was talking about. It's not a father and son movie, although they have an interesting relationship. But the last shot we see of Paul Reiser, his dad, is through the little window watching him, and there's just this look of it's not even pride, it's just this amazement, like, holy shit.
Like true awe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. And I'm like, wow, that is really the last time we see him. It's not about the father. It's not about his feelings. It's about these two characters who are dependent on each other in this antagonistic way to meet their goals. So
they're certainly feeding off of each other.
Oh, God. That's why I don't know if it's parasitic is the right thing, because they're all kind of feeding off of each other.
And is symbiotic? That's not the right thing either. No.
Now, do you ever think of where they went from here? Like, does Neiman go on to become this?
He does. Well, the funny thing is, Damon Chazelle says, "Oh yeah, he does." Because some people, I didn't think it was an ambiguous ending. There's some movies that are like the end of Inception. Yeah, you don't know if the top fall. I don't know if it's real or not. This one, I didn't think there was any question. Neiman hit that mark. He is the next thing,
and he would be the memorable one.
Yes,
from that.
And Fletcher. Yeah. And Fletcher's the one who pulled it out of him.
He almost doesn't need to teach anymore. Yeah,
which is good because he's fired.
Yes, he has no job.
He doesn't have a job.
He'll have to go teach someplace
else. Go play that piano
now.
in that bar, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes,
which he played really well,
very well.
And I think J.K. Simmons comes from I think he has a music degree.
Wow.
And his parents were musicians.
What doesn't he do?
I know.
He's magical.
I don't know. Won 47 awards just for this one role. So obviously some people besides us agree on this. Do you have any more questions about the ending or anything that's stuck in your craw?
Because Patrick will be glad to, explain them for you.
Because yes, I was there.
He was there. He knows.
Really likes to email me and go, how
and,
should I end La La Land? I'm like, oh, fuck him. Don't let him get together.
That's what everybody wants.
But you're making really good. Squeaker's got some good points here.
I think we have a great squeaker here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. There's something we didn't talk about. In the Austin Stowell character. His character. Actually, I worked with him on this little
Connolly in this.
Yes.
Or as they call him, Johnny Utah or Flanagan or whatever, the fucking
Irishman.
leprechaun.
He brings an interesting thing to the table too, because it was like this combination of who's going to step up and who's going to bring it, and that ties back into the ending of like. Is something going to happen? Is he going to jump into the table? Is he going to be the guy that steps in? What's going to happen here? The ending is so great because you have this feeling that there's a simplicity happening here. It's like it's almost the roles are reversing a little bit. You're getting that combination going on there. But then there's also that, all right, I'm back in control. J.K. Simmons steps up and is like, follow me, my tempo, buddy.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So something that I want to bring up about Connolly, the first time we see him is kind of through Neiman's eyes. Connolly's making out with his girlfriend and kind of, I guess, kissing her goodbye before going into the studio thing. And you see Neiman's face so focused on it.
Stares at him, yeah.
Like, and now, of course, we feel that he probably, that's something I should have as a girlfriend.
So maybe that makes me a better musician, and that was his thought process.
We find out he does not think Connolly's a very good. That shit.
Yeah,
I think it's funny that he becomes Mr. Shy Guy. He won't look people in the eyes to go that shit right to the guy's face. He's got balls.
Yes, he does.
Neiman.
He does. So let's talk about like next week. What we're going to be coming out, or actually it won't be next week. It might be yeah, a couple of weeks. Who knows?
Next podcast.
The next podcast.
Coming up on our next podcast.
So
Coming up.
we've come up with this great little formula that we've got, and what was the film we chose for that?
Boogie Nights.
Oh my goodness, Boogie Nights.
That's one of my favorites. That's probably my top
Squeaker
5.
is very
Sorry,
excited.
Squeaker, but you can only get
Very.
one
That's
guest
all right.
appearance.
Oh
So
man, he's
we
gonna have to hold
Just
up.
think of me
signs.
while you're talking about
There
it.
you go.
I do love that movie.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun one for us to be discussing, and
I can't wait till we watch one that I just hate.
I know.
Yeah, me too.
I could be so excited.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think something might be interesting is that we have all you listeners start hitting us up. Drop us some little message.
your
Go to
suggestions.
adultbeverage.org and send us suggestions
Adult
of your
Beverage Podcast, isn't it? Or is it adultbeverage.org?
No, adultbeverage.org is the website,
on
but
the iTunes.
But if you go to iTunes or any of those other places, just type in Adult Beverage Podcast.
But don't suggest any Michael Bay movies.
No,
No,
please. We'll
no,
keep
we're not
those
doing
in.
that. No.
But we'll take anything, and maybe we'll pick one out of the hat and choose it. So if you'll give us some, good ideas.
Yeah, send in your ideas.
Yeah. So
That'd be fun.
but we've enjoyed this, and this has been a fun time hanging out with you guys and listening to us. And
Yeah, thanks for joining
Go
us.
rewatch Whiplash now.
Yes,
It is.
and
I
watch
told
Boogie
you,
Nights.
I didn't like it the first time I watched it, but then I watched it again and kind of changed everything.
So that happens to me with I saw there's a movie called Ravenous, which made my list.
Oh yeah.
First time I saw it, hated it because I didn't know how to process it.
I loved it for the
And
first
then
time.
Oh,
the
it's so
second time I
great.
saw it was on like Up All Night or one of those shows. It's like 1 a.m. I'm like all crunchy and tired. And I went, this is the fucking best movie I've ever seen. I totally get it now.
You just needed Rhonda Shear to guide me.
I needed I needed commercials. Commercials is it gives you good time to think about
Yeah, you
things.
can get a snack and go pee and you
Go get an
you're
adult
good.
beverage.
Exactly.
An adult
Nice.
beverage.
You go, Squeaker.
I think I was adult beveraged out when I saw Rabbit.
Yeah, I think we've been whiplashed right on out of here with our whiplash cocktails that we had here tonight,
Yeah,
and
pretty
raisinets
good.
and popcorn. So check back in with us, and thank you again for joining us.
If you deliberately sabotage my band, I will fuck you like a pig. Now, are you a rusher, or are you a dragger, or are you gonna be on my fucking time?
I'm gonna be on your time.
What does that say?
Quarter note equals 215.
Count me at 2:15.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jesus fucking Christ! I didn't know they allowed retards into Schaefer. Am I to understand that you cannot read tempo? Can you even fucking read music? What is that?
8th note.
Yes, what is that?
Dotted 16th note.
Sight read measure 101. What are you, in a fucking a cappella group? Play the goddamn kit! Ah! Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging? Answer!
Russian.